Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome, fellow YouTubers, and I hope you're all doing well this beautiful morning. Normally I do videos in the evening, but today I've decided to do one in the morning because the weather here has been quite muggy and sticky, and it's also very humid at night time as well. So I usually enjoy to do my videos in the evening time when it's a bit cooler, but for some reason it's cooler in the mornings lately. So I thought I'd do a video in the morning time for us. So last week we covered a thing called Chattaro Sammappadhānā, which was the 4 bases of power. So I did a video last week on that. Chattaro basically means 4. So there's different ones. You've got Chattaro Sammappadhānā, you've got also the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And then today we're covering the 4 right efforts. So this week I want to give a brief summary, and in Pali we refer to the 4 right efforts as Chattaro Sammappadhānā. Okay, so this is one of many key teachings in Theravada Buddhism, and it's one of the 37 requisites of enlightenment. So these 4 right efforts that I'll be discussing today are what a practitioner must consistently cultivate in order to purify the mind and overcome unwholesome states and essentially develop wholesome ones. Okay, so now you'll find these 4 right efforts not only mentioned in things like the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, but you'll also find it's mentioned in many other suttas spread throughout the Nikayas. So the Buddha discussed this in many of his suttas, so I think it's there's validity to me talking about it today and discussing it. Okay, so the first one that we're going to cover, the first effort, is the effort to prevent or to restrain. And we call this Samvara Padana. Now, it's the effort to prevent unwholesome states that have not yet arisen from arising. All right, so an example of this could be ensuring that you're routinely guarding your sense doors and avoiding situations or thoughts that could trigger things like greed, hatred, and delusion. So for those of you unaware, the 6 sense doors are the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and then lastly the mind. All right? Now, secondly, we have the effort to abandon or overcome. Now, this in Pali is referred to as Pahana Padana. All right? So Pahana Padana. Now, this is the effort to abandon unwholesome states that have already gotten through and have arisen within us. So a good example of this one would be when anger has arisen and come to the surface. We could use tools like mindfulness and even reflect on the nature of things like impermanence, anicca, or even perhaps focus on loving kindness, metta, to overcome this. Now, the third is the effort to develop and to cultivate. So this would be the effort to generate wholesome states that have not yet arisen in our practice. So in Pali, we call this Bhavana Padana. An example of this one would be deliberately cultivating aspects of our practice, like things like loving kindness, compassion, altruism, insight, and also things like the 7 factors of enlightenment. So for those of you unaware, the 7 factors of enlightenment would be things like sati, which is mindfulness. We have investigation, we have virya, like energy, piti, like joy, pasadi, which we refer to as tranquility, samadhi, concentration, and then lastly upekkha, which is equanimity. So these various tools we can use to develop and cultivate positive things for our meditation. And lastly, the fourth right effort we want to have is the effort to maintain and increase. So this would be the effort to maintain and increase wholesome states that have already arisen for us. So an example of this one would be when our minds are calm and concentrated during our practice, we can make the effort to keep it that way and even develop it, ensuring that we don't let go and potentially slip back into distraction and things like dullness, okay? So this is what Chattaro Sammappadhānā means, a very brief summary, or the 4 right efforts. So just to recap, number 1, we could say the effort to restrain or prevent, and this stops bad states that haven't arisen yet. Number 2 is the effort to abandon, so remove bad states that have arisen. Number 3 would be the effort to cultivate and or develop, so bring forth good states that haven't arisen yet. And then lastly, number 4, we would have the effort to maintain and potentially increase, so keep and strengthen good states that are already present. And these states are practiced with wisdom and in balance. So that's making sure not to force or to strain too much, all right? These 4 right efforts, they actually need to work in harmony with things like the Eightfold Path. So we have to be careful, because overstraining can actually lead to things like restlessness, and understraining can also lead to things with like sloth and torpor. So these 4 right efforts are the active, energetic side of mental purification, and are practiced continuously by beginners and even the more advanced practitioners. All right, so that's a brief summary today of Chattaro Sammappadhānā. And in the coming weeks, I'll cover other tools as well that the Buddha's laid out for us that we can utilize in our practice as meditation practitioners, okay? So that is all for today or this morning. I hope you guys have a lovely day ahead of you, and blessings from the Noble Triple Gem. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.